Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a live event here. I just want to go over a few things. I really want to talk about what separates kind of the low end website from the high end website, what every website needs to have in order to be high end, and really what makes a good website that's going to convert, that you're going to be able to track your metrics and clients want to interact with. So, there's a few things that every website just needs to have right off the bat. Every website needs to be responsive. What do I mean by that? Responsive website is a website that's going to load on your mobile platform. It's going to load on your desktop platform. It's going to load on your tablet. It's going to load on a giant screen, on a little screen, and every size in between. It's really important that that happens across all the devices so that there's a seamless experience for all your users, as well as the fact that we need to be conscious that over 60% of users nowadays searching on the internet are on mobile devices, and it's only going to continue to increase. The next thing over we got is page speed optimization. You're going to spend time to get people to your website. It needs to be optimized for page speed. You need to have images that are scaled appropriately for the size that you need. So if you're having a hero image, it needs to be big enough, but not oversized. 1600 pixels is probably wide enough for most of those really large images. And then you also need to make sure that you're compressing those images once you've scaled it down to size. You want to shoot for like 250 kilobytes or less, even on those large hero images. And then on these smaller images that show up on page, you could probably get away with under 50 kilobytes, and in some cases under 20 if you compress it properly. PNGs are going to be a little bit larger format, but they do offer things like transparent backgrounds, where JPEGs and JPEG 2 and now the new WebP format are going to be way more optimized for size. And I would suggest that you go in one of those directions for size. Unless you need a transparent background, then JPEG is just fine for that. The next thing I really want to discuss is security. So people think, oh, security, no one's going to hack me. That's like a fairy tale in a movie where, the guy's wearing the anonymous mask, and that's not the case. So since I started, I've been doing this particular technology in the web space, making websites for different companies that are secure and fast and all of these things and optimized. The amount of hacks that I see occur has actually been increasing over time. There are a lot of tools out there like Kali Linux and things that you really don't even need to be a programmer yourself, because other programmers have already made them. Kali Linux is for ideally white hat testing. So the good guy, the white hat cowboy, not the black hat bad cowboy, can use to do penetration tests, lawfully penetrating companies that they want their security tested. Well, that same software can be used by the bad guys and can really wreak havoc across unprotected sites. So the key there for security is making sure you have an SSL to keep your secure client traffic. So all your clients are secure, you have an SSL. The next thing you really want to make sure is that you have backup so that you can always roll things back as things fail on you, or as you find issues, because there is no such thing as 100% penetration safe, right? Think about it as a room. The only safe room, the only room that cannot be broken into, has no windows and no doors. What kind of good is that room? So you add a window. Well, someone knows how to get in that window. Okay, so you add a better window, and then someone learns how to get into that window. Then, oh wait, I need a door, so I add a door. You see where this is going, right? There's no perfect door. There's no perfect lock. The way it really works is I make a door, someone learns how to open it. I make a better lock, someone knows how to open that. I make another lock, someone knows how to open that. And it's this iterative process. So in the same way, we need to make periodic updates to our website, especially if you're running open source software. But even if you're running fully customized platforms, you still need to make periodic updates. It's much less often with custom platforms than with open source, because with open source, everybody and their mother can literally see the code that's being used to run the website. So the best rule of thumb is update that thing weekly. If you really don't have a lot of traffic, you can update that thing monthly. If you've got backups, hey, no harm, no foul. You go off for a couple of days because you only updated it every month and somebody hacked it, and then you realize it a couple of weeks later, and then you just roll back. Well, if you don't have a high traffic quantity, that's not the biggest deal. If you're high traffic, I would be doing weekly updates and checking on that thing daily. right? And you might even want to do updates more periodically than weekly for high traffic websites. We're talking like high end. People are getting thousands of hits a day on those websites. Even at the hundreds level, you're going to want to start moving in that direction. The next thing we need to talk about is when you land on the website. So now I'm a customer, I land on the website, and there's so much going on most websites that we have this self-preservation aspect. We kind of just stop looking at all of the noise and we hone in on, is this valuable for me or not? If it is valuable, I might stay a little bit longer. If not, I'm going to leave. Every action I, as a client, have to do when I'm browsing on a website or doing anything is called friction. So that could be scrolling the mouse wheel. That could be reading a lot of text. That could be just clicking your call to action, waiting for it to load. We already addressed page speed. It needs to load fast for that reason, because you're just adding friction on me, the user of your website. So what we need to do is have very clear calls to action. We need to make it easy for them to find the reason they're there, with the contact form, the get started button, your phone numbers. Everything should be easy to find and probably a little bit redundant. We might have it in the header. We might have a call to action right in the hero section. We might have an introductory section, little problem solution section, maybe another call to action, some, testimonials, a little story branding, another call to action, some client logos, a little bit of how it works, how to get started, and maybe even another call to action. And then on the footer, we're going to put the phone number again. We're going to reinforce that you're a real company with your address if you are willing to put that out there. And we're going to try to create those trust elements. Along those lines, with trust elements, we want to make sure, like I said, we have client logos. We want to make sure that you showcase all of the people that you've ever worked with. We want to show your reviews. If you've got reviews on your website, we want to show them so that people can see, hey, I can trust this company. These people did, and it worked out well for them. We also want to show our portfolio, some of our work that we do, right? We want to be able to let people feel at ease with our quality of what we produce. As service industry or as a product industry, it doesn't matter. You need reviews. Think about Amazon. Do you want to be the first person to buy a product with no reviews? Or would you rather buy the product that has thousands of reviews and they're all 5 stars? There's going to be the occasional 1-star review, but let's face it, that happens. And as long as we, as the owner of a business, put our best foot forward, that's fine, right? We can have bad reviews. Not everyone's going to have a good day, but for the most part, when those bad reviews come in, the other people who are reading those reviews can see that the owner of the company is taking action and saying, hey, I'm sorry you had this bad experience. This is what we're going to do to rectify that for you. Obviously, another trust element is having that contact page. You got to have a solid contact page so people know that you're a real company and know how to find you. They know how to communicate with you. If you're willing to put your phone number directly on that page and your address, that's even better. Along these lines now of self-preservation, of not allowing too much friction for the customer, is high quality content, right? Tell your story to the client when they land on that page. There should be really clear paragraphs about your story. And it doesn't need to be long-winded. In fact, less is more, because I'm a lazy user and I don't have time to read all of what you're telling me. If I read some of it, like the header looks good and I'm interested, I might dive into that paragraph. But if the header's not on point, or you don't have any nice bullet points of features that I can just easily understand, if I want this content, if this is for me, if this is going to solve my problem, I'm probably not going to go any further. Okay. Along these lines, now we've got quality content. We got a really fast website. It loads across all the platforms. We want to make sure we're SEO optimized. SEO is search engine optimization, or page rank optimization, right? So the way that we get search engine optimized is, a search engine is only as good as the quality content you have on page. So if I'm searching for a service, you need to think about, what are all of the features and all of the things around that service that I'm going to be looking for as a client. So I'm going to be searching for something, a search term that is hopefully something that you use when you describe your services. But also, I'm going to probably be searching my state or my town that I'm in. So if you service a certain state or a certain town or a certain city or even a county, it's a really good idea for you to have those words on page along with the services that you do for this specific location. So I call these location pages, right? I say, okay, here are my service areas. And then here's a list of all of my service areas. And then when you click on one, you'll probably go to some kind of a really basic template that shows the name of the service area. And then it shows all of the services I perform within that area, along with probably some of the client logos and trust elements and reviews that we want to see, and a clear call to action. And that contact form might even be right at the top of that service area form. And I probably have another one in the middle and close to the bottom, so that if you've gotten through all the content and now you're ready to go, you can follow that call to action to get started. So by having these service area forms and pages, you're going to qualify when someone says, I want service A in location B. And those two words have a chance to qualify for your search results. That doesn't mean you're going to be at the top of the list. That has to do with a lot of factors. But that does mean that you'll at least qualify. So that's a fantastic place to start when you're building your business. Along the lines of search engine optimization, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about blogging. So, blogging is what I call evergreen content. It's content that you create today that's going to help your business tomorrow, the next day, into the future. Now, don't get me wrong, search engines often take 6 to 8 weeks to even pick up content, and sometimes it can be longer if you're a brand new website. But by making quality content and by adding blogs that go dive into these little niche problems and niche experiences or case studies that you have with your clients, this gives you the ability to add all of this extra keyword rich content to your website without cluttering the main flow, without cluttering the main landing pages. Because, like we said, people are only there for what they're there for, right? They don't have a lot of time. So if you clutter your main landing page with a bunch of content, it's going to muddy up the call to action. So you keep your landing page really clear, just story brand the page with a lot of calls to action down it and trust elements. And then on your blogs is where you have the ability to deep dive into these niche problems and start really qualifying for these keywords at a higher level. So making sure that we have these high quality blogs that we're constantly writing, and I'd recommend writing a blog every week, at least doing one a month. But what you'll find in the long term is that a blog that you wrote years ago is going to still be giving you traffic today. And that's what I mean by evergreen content. All other forms of marketing are not evergreen, right? We do some social media posts. Well, the algorithms really want us to pay for social media, so they're going to push our post to the bottom. And when I do make a post, probably about 15% of my audience at best sees it anyway. So unless I'm constantly posting, which takes time or money, whichever way you're looking at it, my posts go to the bottom of the reel of the blog feed, right? The moment I stop posting, it just gets pushed to the bottom because new noise is coming on top, and then my content is basically buried. In the same way, if we're paying for ads, well, obviously, the moment my ads budget dries up, so do the traffic that comes from that. So the only true form of evergreen marketing is content marketing, where I make content on my website. It is mine. And since I wrote it and it's on my website, as long as my website is up, I'm going to continue getting traffic into perpetuity. Worked with a few companies like this that blogged like 2 to 3 times a week for 10 years. And they were getting about 35 to 40,000 people a month to their website without a single penny spent in actual online advertising. All of their money was going into these evergreen content marketing. They were writing articles like crazy, and it was theirs forever. So even now, years later, after they've stopped writing content, they're still getting hundreds and thousands of people to their website from their efforts in the past. So, blog. Okay. Moving down a little bit, along the lines of location-based pages, we can also do obviously our service pages and our vertical market pages, right? Those are all key things where if I'm in a vertical market, like I work with um, landscaping and I work with plumbing and I work with different service industries, well, then I'm going to put each of those with their own landing page where I'll discuss how and why each of those are useful with how my service is beneficial for each of those individual vertical markets, right? That way I have vertical market pages, I have service pages, and I have location pages all giving me that evergreen content. Plus I have those blogs. Okay, let's move along here. So one thing that's utterly important with any website undertaking or any web project or any app that you're developing is to have analytics on it. And that's not that hard to do because Google Analytics is a free program and you can install an analytics script and it'll tell you all the traffic and more about what's happening on your website, who's coming, how long there's there for, what kind of interactions they're taking with your website. And you can review that and use that understanding and that report to then make logical decisions about how to move forward when you're redesigning or making any changes to your content or your marketing plans. That report can also lend to showing you who you're going to market to in the future, as you can see what type of demographic is already interacting with your website. So along those lines, Facebook, if you're ever going to do Facebook ads, you also probably want to get a Facebook ad account created right away, even if you're not planning on using it, just so that you can make a Facebook pixel and install that pixel on your website. So then later in life, when you're ready to advertise, you can actually remarket to those users who've already ran to your website. And along the lines of analytics, you need to have conversion event tracking. And this can happen in both Google and in Facebook Pixel. So a conversion event is you come to my website and maybe my conversion event is you click the call, or maybe my conversion event is you filled out the form and you got to the submission thank you page or whatever the end of the form is. So now I know that a user came to my site and converted. This is really important because I want to see my conversion metric overall. I don't just want traffic. I do want traffic, but I want high quality traffic that actually leads to conversions. So if it's an e-commerce site, it's going to be your checkout. If it's a service-based industry, it might be a get a free quote. I might have a payment, a pricing form. I might even want to have a sub goal of, hey, they at least checked my pricing page, right? That might be like a goal, sub goal, and then my main goal is they actually called for a quote. So with conversion tracking, when and if you ever do decide to run ads, you can also run much more effective advertisement in the fact that you're going to be able to say, you know, give me people who are actually converting. So all of the advertisement platforms use artificial intelligence to try to make the ads better. We as humans tell it what we want as far as demographics and how it's going to work and what the content is and what the graphics are going to be or the videos that we're going to use. And then we give it a bunch of headlines and descriptions and we let the artificial intelligence algorithm do its job and split test all of those different types of elements and content and headlines and graphics and calls to action that we've given to it. The way it knows it's doing a good job is because it's getting the conversion event that we've asked for. So ideally, we have the conversion event set up prior to running any form of advertisement if we ever decide to do that. In the same way, we can actually retarget people. So if someone lands on your website, you could retarget them if they've landed on your website, say, and never converted yet. Then let's spend money on that audience. And that's going to be a lot smaller ad budget because it's a lot smaller niche audience. So that was a little bit deeper about reporting and metrics, but it really comes down to just making sure that you have a report, that you're looking at it, and that you're making business decisions based on actual statistics. Emotion is great for coming up with ideas. Logic is fantastic for testing and proving or disproving those ideas to actually have a go forward on decision making. Really, there's a lot more elements to it, but one of the last things that you really want to do once you have your website up and running is to make sure you have a Google search account. It's called Search Console now. It used to be Google Webmaster Tools back when I was working it. And really, there's a few basic things you need to do on there. One of them is make sure that your website has a sitemap and that you've submitted your sitemap. And then another thing you can do on there is um, individually spider pages and request indexing on pages if they're not getting picked up right away. Typically, just submitting the sitemap will eventually spider all of your pages. But if it's a brand new website, you might just want to initially index and request indexing on all of those pages. Along those lines, you can also integrate your Search Console to your analytics to get a little bit more improved statistics and information. So really, that's that. I wanted to try to keep it short and just spitball what people really want to see in a high quality website. They don't just want a website that's a business card. They want a business card that loads fast and they want it to do something, right? You can just have the business card website, hey, call me for a quote. You might want an e-commerce site. You might want a learning platform, an educational platform. You might want a site for making and donations and fundraisers. Whatever the reason for your site doesn't matter because they all share these same features and elements. So go out there, make yourself a website, make someone else a website. No matter what you do, just get after it. Don't quit. And remember that the people who win are the ones who have the delayed gratification to do today what must be done to make tomorrow better, and those who have discipline to never give up and do that which they don't want to do. So until next time, guys, thank you so much. And I hope somebody out there enjoys this because I do this for you guys. Thank you.